Now we'll study the new chapter, chapter number 7, systems of particles and rotational motion. Now up to the chapter number 6, we have studied mechanics, that is motion in 1 dimension and 2 dimension. While studying that one, we have considered all the objects as point objects. Why we have chosen them as point objects? Because the size of the object is very less compared to the motion of the path. Now if you have an object here and its size is this much and it is traveling a longer distance, if the size of the object is very small compared to the distance traveled, then those objects we have chosen them as point objects. For example, Earth is revolving around the Sun. Even Earth is taken as point object with respect to its orbital path, because its orbital path is very large compared to the size of the Earth. So that we have studied in the previous chapter. Now in this chapter we are going to study the extended objects, motion of the extended object. Now what is the motion of the extended, what is the meaning of extended object? We have an object. Here we have chosen the size of the object. Now that object consists of so many number of point particles. Now we are going to study the system of particles. Now that the extended object we call them as system of particles. Here we are going to considering each and every particle, motion of each and every particle, and hence they are called as extended object, and that system we call it as system of particles. Now before going to study the motion of the system of particles, first we have to study a rigid body. Rigid body, the first concept. What is a rigid body? A body with a perfectly definite and unchanging shape is called rigid body. Any object or any body which is having a perfectly definite shape and also the shape is unchanging. If that is the case, then that object we call it as a rigid body. According to this definition, no object in the universe is rigid. So every object is going to change its shape because of some external forces. But practical purposes, we are choosing some objects as rigid objects. So therefore, any object which has a perfectly definite and unchangeable shape is called rigid body. And one more thing we consider. Now in a rigid body, if you take a pair of particles, if you choose any pair of particles, if you choose the pair of particles, these two, and if I choose another two pair of particles here, if I choose another pair of particles here, then the distance between pair of particles, it remains a constant in the case of a rigid body. That is, the meaning is, it is not going to change its shape. If it changes its shape, obviously what happens? The distance between the pair of particles, any pair of two particles, will not be constant if it is going to change the shape. So therefore, a rigid body is one which has a perfectly definite shape and unchanging shape. Perfectly definite and unchanging shape is called a rigid body. Now we are going to study the motion of the rigid body. Now consider an inclined plane as shown in the figure. Now we have an inclined plane here. Okay. I have a block, a rectangular block. Now the rectangular block is made to slide down. It is sliding down the inclined plane. Now as and when this block starts sliding down, assume that this block consists of so many number of particles. Therefore each and every particle starts sliding down. Now what about the velocity of each and every particle? All the particles are sliding down with the same velocity. Velocity of all the particles remains the same. They are sliding down. Initially, that block is at the top level. As and when it starts slide down, it is coming downwards, 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 and reaches the ground level. Now, in that type of motion, all particles, they are also sliding down with the same velocity. Now, this type of motion is a linear motion. Therefore, it is also called as translational motion. That type of motion we call it as translational. Translational motion. It is a translational motion because it is moving along in the linear direction, moving along a straight line. Therefore, the sliding of a block on an inclined plane is a translational motion. But here, all the particles are moving with the same velocity. Therefore, this type of translational motion we call it as pure translational motion. Generally, any object is moving along a straight line, then it is linear or translational motion. If all the particles are moving with the same velocity, then that type of motion we call it as pure translational motion. Now consider the same inclined plane. Now you need to adopt this one. Now consider the same inclined plane. Now an object like a ball or a cylinder is rolling down. Now here it is sliding. Now here it is rolling down. It starts rolling down from top to the bottom. Because it is in spherical in shape, we are considering a ball or a cylindrical object. If I place it in an inclined plane, what it happens? It is going to roll down. Now initially it is at this position, top position. After rolling down, it comes to the bottom. Therefore, it has a translational motion, obviously. Initial agilittu ball anta ankodva inclined plane ಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. As and when it is released, it starts rolling down. Instead of sliding, it starts rolling because of the spherical nature of its surface, and comes to the bottom. Now it has a translational motion. Along with the translational motion, it has something else. Another motion it is having. That something else we call it as rotational motion. Rotational motion. What happens? This ball starts going to rotate. It starts rotating and also having the translational. The combination of translational and rotational is called as rolling motion. It is rolling. It is consists of both the translational as well as rotational motion. Now we have got one more type of motion, that is the rotational motion. Now here, if you consider the velocity of all the particles, in the case of linear velocity, the linear velocity of all the particles is not at all constant. In the previous case, it is sliding down. All the particles are sliding along the same direction. Therefore, they have same linear velocity. Therefore, this motion we called it as pure translational motion. Clear? Okay. Now come to this diagram. Since the ball is rolling down, so each and every particle, its direction of velocity is different. The velocity is having all the 360-degree direction of rotation. So since the direction is different, therefore the velocity is not at all constant. Even though its magnitude is constant, direction is different. Therefore, in the case of rolling motion, we have a translational motion, but all the particles are not having the same velocity. Therefore, it is not a pure translational motion. But it is a just translational motion, but it is not pure. Along with the translational motion, we have a rotational motion. Now we'll study regarding this rotational motion. So in the case of rotational motion, if an object is fixed or pivoted, object anna fix madidre ಅಥವಾ pivot madidre, that object starts rotating. If it is fixed, it starts rotating. The fixed point is the only point which is not at all in motion, and all other points, if you consider, they are rotating about a common fixed point, and that type of motion we call it as rotational motion. The point which is fixed, if I draw a line passing through that point, that straight line which is perpendicular to the plane of the object is called as axis of rotation. It is called as axis of rotation. If I write like this, now this is the circular plate. Now if I draw a straight line here, now that plate is rotating in this direction. Now this one we call it as axis of rotation. Now this is the axis of rotation. Now here in the case of rotational motion, one point that is at the center is not rotating, it is always fixed. The distance from this one to the circumference of the circle, we call it as the radius of the circular path. Okay, each and every particle is rotating and it describes a circular path. If you consider different particles, so if I take any other shape, now this is the rigid body, and if I take that this is the axis of rotation, now I have one particle here P1 which is at a distance R1. On the other side I am having a particle P2 at a distance R2. Similarly, if we take different types of particles, now each and every particle in rotational motion is going to describe a circular path. Now particle 1 describes a circular path here like this with a radius R1. Similarly, the particle 2 is going to describe a circular path like this with a radius R2. In the similar way, all the particles in that rigid body, they are going to describe a circular path as shown in the diagram. Now the best example for rotational motion is ceiling fan, which is fixed and it is rotating. Spinning top, bugri ಆಡ್ಸೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, that is spinning top. Giant wheel, ಜಾತ್ರೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, giant wheel. And also merry go round, ಕುದುರೆ ಹತ್ತಿ ತಿರುಗುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, merry go round. All these are examples for rotational motion. Now in some cases, in most of the, if the point is fixed, that axis of rotation is fixed. In all 4 examples, that is ceiling fan and this merry-go-round and giant wheel. In all the 3 examples, the axis is fixed. Axis of rotation, it is fixed. But if you consider the case of a spinning top, ಬುಗುರಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಆಡಿಸಿದಾಗ ಅದು ತಿರುಗ್ತಾ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿ ಹೇಳಾದ್ರೆ, at that position the axis of rotation is fixed. ಒಂದೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬುಗುರಿ ತಿರುಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ, the axis of rotation is fixed. As and when the rotational speed goes on decreases, what you have observed, the axis no longer fixed, the axis is going to make wobbling movement. That means the axis is going to rotate about a vertical direction, and that type of motion we call it as precession. Precession. In rotational motion, if the axis of rotation is moving around a vertical direction, In the case of a spinning top, ಬುಗ್ರೆ ಆಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗಲ್ಲಿ ತಿರುಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಅದು ಸ್ಲೋ ಡೌನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತದೋ ಅದರ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರೊಟೇಷನ್ನು ಓಬ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾಗ್ತದೆ. So that type of motion we call it as precession. If the axis of rotation is rotating about a fixed vertical direction, now that is called as precession. Now in the case of rolling down, we are having these two, that is translational motion as well as rotational motion, but translational motion is not at all a pure one, since the velocity is not same for all the particles. But in rotational motion, the angular velocity of all the particles remains constant. Angular velocity constant is rotational motion alli. Adu nenapalli idkoಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. Example, moon revolving around the earth. Moon is revolving around the earth. Moon ಹಾಗೆ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ತಿರುಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Moon is rotating as well as revolving. ಓಕೆ, ರೊಟೇಷನಲ್ಲೂ ಇದೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ನು ಉಂಟು. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ರೊಟೇಷನಲ್ ಮೋಷನ್ನು ಬರ್ತದೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನಲ್ ಮೋಷನು ಬರ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳಿ. ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಫ್ಯಾನ್ ಆರ್ ಪೆಡೆಸ್ಟಲ್ ಫ್ಯಾನ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಪೆಡೆಸ್ಟಲ್ ಫ್ಯಾನ್. ಒಂದು ಟೇಬಲ್ ಫ್ಯಾನ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಿರುಗು ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರೊಟೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೂವಿಂಗ್. Table fan is rotating along this direction. Thus, the motion of the rigid body, which is not fixed or pivoted, is either pure translational or the combination of translational and rotational motion. Also, the motion of a rigid body which is pivoted or fixed is a rotational motion. Next concept, very important one, center of mass. Now, if you consider any rigid body, if you have a rigid body of any shape, having a solid one, consisting of so many number of particles, each having different masses, okay, we will find a particular point in the body at which the entire mass is assumed to be concentrated. That we have observed. If we are going to balance a notebook, we will balance a notebook at a fingertip. Now that particular point at which the notebook is balanced, now that particular point is called as a center of mass. In the case of two girls who are holding their hands and rotating about a common point, now that common point around which they are rotating is called as a center of mass. So these are the examples. Now how you define a center of mass? So center of mass of an object or rigid body is a point at which entire mass of the body is assumed to be or supposed to be concentrated. It is supposed to be concentrated at that point. If you have a single body, so obviously the center of mass lies inside the body. For some cases, that point may not be inside the body, it may be lying outside the body. So in the case of two girls, they are having hands held together. So the center of mass actually lies at the hands. In the case of earth revolving around the sun or moon revolving around the earth, the center of mass is somewhere between the line joining the two. It is not situated at the sun or not at the moon or not at the earth. It is the line joining them. So center of mass of a rigid body is a point at which the entire mass is supposed to be concentrated. Now this center of mass, it depends on 2 points. One is the shape of the object, it depends on the shape. And another one is distribution of mass. So a body shape mele matte ಮಾಸ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆಗೂ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೂ ಸಹ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸು ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳಿ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಎ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್, ಒಂದು ಸಾಲಿಡ್ ಸ್ಪಿಯರನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಸು ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದು ಹೇಳಿ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಆಸ್ ಶೋನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಡಯಾಗ್ರಾಮ್, ದ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಿಗೆ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಐ ಟೇಕ್ ಎ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಾನೆ? ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಇಂಟರ್ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡಯಾಗನಲ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಇಂಟರ್ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದೇ ನಾನು ಒಂದು ರೆಕ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಗಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಐ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಎ ರೆಕ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಗಲ್, ಆ ರೆಕ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಲ್ಯಾಮಿನಾ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಆ ಲ್ಯಾಮಿನಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಬೋದು? ಡಯಾಗನಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, ಆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನು ಬರ್ತದೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸು ಲೊಕೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಇಫ್ ಐ ಟೇಕ್ ಎ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ರಿಂಗ್, ಒಂದು ರಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೆಂಟರ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಟೇಕ್ ಎ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್, ರಿಂಗ್ ಬದಲಿಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೆಂಟರ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಟೇಕ್ ಎ ಟ್ರಯಾಂಗಲ್, ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಟ್ರಯಾಂಗಲ್ ಅನ್ನು, ಅದು ಈಕ್ವಿಲ್ಯಾಟ್ರಲ್ ಟ್ರಯಾಂಗಲ್ ಆಯಿತು ಹೇಳಾದ್ರೆ, ಆರ್ ಎನಿ ಟ್ರಯಾಂಗಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ? ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಲೈನ್ ಜಾಯ್ನಿಂಗ್ ದ ಮೀಡಿಯನ್ಸ್, ದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೀಡಿಯನ್ಸ್, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟು ಬರ್ತದೆ. So center of mass, it is a point at which the entire mass of that rigid body supposed to be concentrated ಹೇಳಿ. Let me take one example how we are going to find the center of mass. Center of mass ಅನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಪಡಿತೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. For that one we have to work out. Now consider the case of two particles. ಎರಡು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. First particle of mass m1, consider the second particle of mass m2. Let me take some origin here, O. Now this, if I consider a coordinate axis, now this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. Now I am taking those 2 point masses along the x-axis, one direction only. Now this m1 is at a distance x1 from the origin, and m2 is at a distance x2 from the origin. Okay, these are the positions, x1 and x2 are the position of those two particles. Now here is the first particle and here is the second particle. Now where is the center of mass? Obviously, according to the definition, the center of mass lies at somewhere along the line joining the two masses. ಆ ಎರಡೂ ಮಾಸನ್ನು ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಲೈನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಯಾವ ಪಾಯಿಂಟು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ದಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್. ಇದು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಸಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೆಯುವ. ಸಿ ಕರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್. ನೌ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಫೈಂಡ್ ವೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ನೌ ದ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಸಿ, it is denoted by the capital letter X. Okay, it is given by some formula, that is mass of the first particle multiplied by its distance or position plus mass of the second particle multiplied by its distance from the origin divided by sum of the masses of the two particles. This is some equation. Now this equation is obtained by using Newton's second law, that is the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force and takes place along the direction of the force. By that formula, F is equal to mf formula, we are deriving this one, but it is not necessary here. You should remember the formula directly. Now this is the formula to find the position of center of mass of two particles of masses m1 and m2, which are at a distances x1 and x2 with respect to some origin. Now how do you remember? Mass of the first particle multiplied by its distance plus mass of the second particle multiplied with its distance divided by sum of the mass of the two particles. Now this is also called as mass weighed mean. mass weighed mean of x1 and x2. This formula is also called as mass weighed mean of x1 and x2 ಅಂತಂದು ಹೇಳಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. Now this is the expression for position of the center of mass. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಆ ಎರಡೂ ಮಾಸಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಅರ್ಥವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡರದ್ದು ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. Now case we will study one case. If those two masses are equal, ಎರಡೂ ಮಾಸು ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ m1 = m2 ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಸೇ m ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, so what we will get from this formula? m, therefore I will write it as m into x1 plus m into x2. Since those two are equal, denominator m plus m 2m ಆಯ್ತು. Okay, now in the numerator take m common. We are getting x1 plus x2 divided by 2m. m get cancels, therefore it is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. So that means if the two masses are equal, then the center of mass is exactly midpoint of the line joining the two masses. ಎರಡು ಮಾಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವುಗಳ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಎರಡೂ ಮಾಸನ್ನು ಲೈನ್ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಲೈನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇದು ಒನ್ ಕೇಸ್. ಓಕೆ, similarly if I take n number of particles along the x axis, ಅವಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಏನಂತ ಬರಿಬೋದು ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ, if you choose n number of particles along the x axis, then the position of the center of mass is given by m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus etc plus mn xn divided by, it is m1 plus m2 etc mn. n number of particles along the x direction ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ x1 x2 x3 up to xn ವರೆಗೂ ಇತ್ತು ಹೇಳಾದ್ರೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಸಮೇಷನ್ ಸೈನ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಮರೇಟರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಗ್ಮಾ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ mi xi, where I have the values 1 to n divided by, denominator ಅಷ್ಟೇ m1 plus m2 ಇದೆ, ಸಿಗ್ಮಾ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು it is mi, where I takes the values 1 to n ಹಾಕಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. Or we can write this x is equal to sigma mi xi. Now what is this one? It is nothing but the total mass of the system, the entire mass of the body or the system. ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಎಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಬರಿಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ಇದು ಟೂ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗೆ ಎನ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು.